Oh my gosh, you guys, everyone, welcome to Curveball. Have I got a story for you today? Because what do you do when you wake up one day and everything is gone? And I mean everything, your health, your home, your family, and your business. And you're literally left staring at rock bottom. For Dallas Collis, this beautiful man next to me, that day came during the pandemic. He found himself alone, battling cancer, addiction. You were also suicidal too, after decades of trauma and loss. And yet, despite all of that, he somehow calls it the best year of his life. And you might be wondering, how could that even be possible? Because that was the year that Dallas discovered that it's never too late to start over. At age 60, he rebuilt his life from the ground up, proving that we're all stronger than we think and that our stories do not have to define us. I love this. Oh, and here's another quirky, but also sort of weird fact about Dallas. You're a peanut butter and mayonnaise guy.
Don't tell anyone.
I just told everyone. And I will tell you, I've never tried it, but I will actually try it after this podcast and I'll report back to you. So welcome to Curveball. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with that year of the complete collapse, right? You described that as the best year of your life, even though it was filled with loss and pain and things that I'm like certain uncertainty. And then what was the turning point during this journey that helped you see this as a beginning and not an ending?
Well, I think we have to go back further to get the story that leads to collapse, because that context holds everything. And that context is that you are a story and a storyteller. And I am a story. We all are. From the moment we're born, we start adding to this story that becomes who we see ourselves as. Our history is us. Yes. If I say, nice to meet you, Heather, tell me something about yourself, you'll start telling me your story. This is what we do. And we identify as our story. That's me. This is what I own, is all the things I've been through, the experiences I've had, the people I've
met. Where I'm from, where I went to school, what I like to eat.
The things that have happened to me, the things that I have done, they all become our story. Well, like many people, my story had lots of trauma, physical and mental abuse. I came out of my childhood knowing I was not smart enough. I was a failure. I wasn't good enough to get by. My school test papers all had an F on them. Other people had C's and B's and even A's. I never did. So I knew I was not good enough. So it's called emotional baggage. You keep all that, you pack it up, you put it in a bag and you drag it around with you through your life. And it's always there. And it builds pain and suffering in our lives. So I went to addiction. My first addiction was blame. As is almost everyone's first addiction, is to blame someone else for what's wrong with me. Some event is what's wrong with me. The government's wrong. The economy's wrong. I never got lucky. They got lucky. I never got a break. Everything was pushed away. But then when that doesn't work well enough, because the bags are still there. I need a stronger addiction. So I found alcohol. And alcohol is like an instant, boom, relief. I changed my mood. I altered my feeling. I don't feel the bags all of a sudden. And so we get hooked into this addiction because, in a way, it works really well.
Like, I think all addictions, like I have a lot of addiction in my family, a lot of alcoholism. And in observing the alcoholics in my family, like one of the things that this is my own personal hypothesis, but that they use alcohol to solve a problem. And the thing is, it works really well until it stops working really well.
Exactly.
But it works like at the beginning. And so I had a sort of a curveball experience myself last summer. And I said to myself, I'm going to intentionally get drunk. And then I was like, oh, that is not my coping skill. But I'm glad that I at least experienced it just to see what it was like to try to do that to help. And it just did not help.
Yeah, I think all addictive behavior is trying to keep a pain away.
Yes.
It's trying to keep your pain out of the present moment. And that's why presence is so important, because the reality is now.
Right.
So if I can keep my pain out of my reality, I feel a sense of safety. And
That makes sense.
that's what becomes addictive. It's a safe space, even though part of my mind is saying, this is going to destroy you.
Right.
You know right away, alcohol is going to kill you, but it gives me this little safe space I can run to that
Right.
keeps the pain out of it. So I'm married, 25 years of marriage with an alcoholic, trying to run away from her pain. So here we are with a house, a business, 2 kids, cars, vacations. We are successful people.
Right.
Under the roof, there's hell going on. There's
I
a
can
war zone.
imagine.
So you take enough years of this pain and suffering, addiction, this constant battle in your mind and in your life, and sooner or later it comes to a boiling point. And that's the luckiest day of my life, when it blows over, when the pot overboils. And for me, I woke up with cancer. And then I go through treatment. And in 1 year, I lose my wife, I lose my house, I lose my business, my family. I end up broke, alone, broken, alcoholic, and suicide seemed like an easy way to finally polish it off.
That
Get out
also
of this.
makes sense. Yeah, I can see how that makes perfect sense. You're like, I've tried all the, like, you're thinking I'm trying all the things and trying to do all the things. And I can see where you're just like, it's absolute. Like, that's going to give me the peace I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a crazy idea.
Right.
I never look at suicide anymore and say, oh, they're really sick. It's a bad idea. No, it's not.
Right.
It's a very logical solution.
Yes.
But it's not the only solution. And what reason do you have not to do it?
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So for me, I got lucky. Pivotal moment. You have movies that the person said, hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yes.
Like a bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
I always thought that was so silly. Come on, that's movies. People don't really have those moments.
Right.
Well, on one hand, I live my life based on yesterday, my past, my history, my story mind.
Oh,
that's where I live. I'm listening to a podcast, and a man says this one sentence: show me yesterday. That was my bolt of lightning. Because my brain said, I live in yesterday. Where is it? I can't go to the cupboard and pull it out and say, here, Heather, this is yesterday. It's not a physical thing. So what is yesterday? It's just a memory. It's just something I believe and has control of me. So there's no solid reality to it. You have beliefs right now that you didn't have 10 years ago.
Right.
You will have beliefs in 10 years that you don't have now. A belief is just something you're in right now. Why am I holding a belief over 60 years to control my life when it's not real?
Right.
That's what hit me.
Amazing.
So if it's not real, who am I? Where am I? Where am I? Because that's not me. The me I think I am is a belief from the past, a memory.
Right.
There's no reality there. My eye just opened up. My eyes opened up. The doors opened. The lights came on. And I went, holy crap. How come I didn't know this? Why didn't I know this? It's so obvious when it happens.
Right. Why do you think you didn't notice?
Because that's how we live.
Right.
You and I, everyone does. When I said to you, hi, Heather, tell me something about yourself. You tell me your story. You're telling me your past. You're telling me your history. You identify as that. Our whole culture does it.
Right.
Our movies do it. Everything is telling a story from behind us. It's not in the moment, because in the moment, you're not a story. You're just being. You're alive. No story. You have to go to the past to get that information. Or you have to fantasize about the future and create a story out of it. There's no story when you're alive. And this is the place we are. So the whole point is, get out of yourself, the self that you think is you. We say today, believe in yourself, be strong, fight, struggle, you can do it. And I say, no, don't believe in yourself. because the self you're believing
Mm,
in is lying to you. It's a story from your past. It's not you. So don't believe in yourself. Believe in the truth of you and I right here now, sharing
right.
this conversation. That's all there ever will be. Life is here.
So I get what you're saying completely about being in the present, not living in the past, not living in the future, like right now. But sometimes that concept can feel a little elusive. Like
Absolutely.
there are times where I'm just like, okay, I think I totally get it. Like when people say, like a quantum physicist will say, everything that exists comes from a single atom. I'd be like,
Right.
really? But then, like, when I read it or I read certain things, I'll be like, okay, I feel like I completely understand that. And then I'll be like, nope, I lost it again. So, talk to me a little bit about what this idea of present tense and being present means to you in a way that you think that will help people sort of understand, like, when you're in it versus when you're not in it.
Right. Everything I talk about is based on me. That's all we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak for another person. I can't teach someone anything. I can only express the example of what I did, what I went through. And if
Right,
someone gets something that clicks with them, that's what we call helping other people, right?
right, right.
Because we connect, we get it. Oh, yeah, I understand. That's all we're doing. So for me, I had to decide what my life was. And I
Mm-hmm.
decided it was one day. We only ever live for one day. You can't live more than one day, can you?
No,
So
just one
I
day at a
got
time, I guess what they say in 12 step, right?
this is what I took this whole idea on. What is this one day at a time? Well, when you examine it, you realize you only ever live one day at a time. So if I take my
Right.
life and I say, a day is 24 hours, I sleep for 8 hours, I have 16 hours to be alive, to do what I want to do, to
Mm,
make choices.
right.
Just 16 hours. Well, in 16 hours, could I eat a little better and think of my diet? Yeah, I could probably do that in 16 hours. Could I take 30 minutes and go for a walk and feel a little healthier? Yeah, I think I could probably do that. It's just
Mm,
16 hours I have to do this in. So I broke everything down into my life is one day. What do I do in the one day? I just tell someone I love them, show up for a family member or a friend. I look after myself the best I can. I think about life being this simple 16 hours and nothing else. Don't
right.
let the world infect everything. And I can do that. All of a sudden, it
Wow.
became simple, like a simple operation of just 16 hours. That's all I have to worry about.
I love that. I love that because it is so easy to get ahead of yourself and to speculate. And I see a lot of that. Just I do it myself. Like I see my friends do it, my kids do it, my spouse does too. Where and you can get like very worked up over something that has not happened yet, over which you have no facts. You don't even have any supporting evidence. Like you're just like, no, I think that this is going to happen, and I can see
And even
how.
if you did, you have no control.
Yeah, exactly. And then
You don't own it.
when you start to move that way, I find like your brain then ends up being like a magnet that it starts to pick up all these other like erroneous, completely fabricated fictions, like truly, and they're just like, oh my gosh, these 11 other bad things are going to happen to you now. And before
Exactly.
you know it, you're just like right down
The
that rabbit
spiral,
hole.
the
Yeah.
spiral of
So
thinking.
then how do you like where did you when you realized when you had this epiphany, and I love those like the sky opens, like all of a sudden like you see something, especially when it's a really what I would classify as a hard truth about yourself,
Yeah.
and you can look at yourself so clearly, and you're not like I remember thinking like because I did grow up with a lot of alcoholism, and I remember having this one epiphany after a meditation where I could see why my parents drank, like I could see everyone's path to alcoholism, and I was like, oh my god, this is so interesting. And I knew it was like something that was like so healthy and almost divine in its delivery because I had so much clarity and so much truth. And I was not mad at one person, most importantly, myself. Like I remember thinking, wow, that's incredible. So, where did you start when you had this big epiphany? How did you start to rewrite your story? And where do you start?
Well, I basically have 3 steps.
Okay.
I realize now, I didn't know at the time. I wasn't planning this. It just happened, right? I just followed a path that seemed to show up for me. The first one was radical responsibility.
Ooh.
Just take responsibility for everything. Everything, even things I knew weren't my fault. I took responsibility for it because it's about me. So just be responsible for everything. Nobody did me harm. Nobody made me unhappy. Nobody made me stupid or a failure or anything. It's all me. So the first step is to take total responsibility for your life. Accept what you have been, what you have done, what you have said, what other people said to you. Accept it all.
Right.
Because you can't put those bags down unless you own them. If I don't own it, I am blaming. It's caused from something outside of me.
Right.
And that's why we carry the baggage. If I own it, I can choose to put them down because they don't have any effect anymore because they're mine. So the first step is that responsibility.
Yeah, I like that because it probably then reveals the bags that you're holding too, that simple one step. Because then you're just like, oh my God, no wonder my arms are so tired. I've been carrying so much. Incredible. Okay, so what's the second step?
And people who are physically exhausted all the time. And it is a mental exhaustion from carrying those bags.
Right.
It affects us physically.
Yes.
So the second step was editing the story mind.
Okay.
I'm
writing this down. This is so good.
I say to people now, think about this line. You've heard it a million times every year at the Oscars. And the Oscar for best editing in a major motion picture goes to me. I'm going to edit my movie, my story. Why don't I edit it? It's mine. I control the movie. I don't have to replay the same movie over and over that has only damaged and hurt me. So I'm going to edit those parts out and just say, they're not real. I don't have to own them. Those are bags I can put down.
I love that.
Memories are just something you replay. That's what keeps them strong. If you stop playing the memory, it fades away.
Yes.
Any memory will. So take all the negative baggage and let it fade away by not replaying it.
Right.
I live a different movie now. I have a new script. That's all it is.
I did some work this summer where it was like, so if you would say, tell me about your family, I would say, okay, I grew up in a wildly alcoholic family. My parents weren't really parental, so I had to like really figure stuff out on my own. And all of those things are true. But you know what else is also true is I grew up in a wild and chaotic family in the Midwest because like I learned resilience and grit and figure it out and how to do things on my own. And I was able to do all these things. Like, I mean, I can sit there and what's so interesting is those are both truths. And it's just a matter of which truth do I want to pay attention to. And I really like my rewritten version. Like I actually sat down and wrote like the original version, which I've told, oh my gosh, I just cannot even tell you for decades, right?
Yeah.
And then I started to tell this new story and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so fun to think this way. And the thing is, it's still a truth too. So if I do find myself reflecting back, but to your point, this is also interesting is once I wrote my new truth, I find myself rarely ever referring back to it, which is also, it does, I guess I set those bags down, as you would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You created a space that you no longer have to jump over anymore.
Right.
There's no reason to go to it.
Yeah. And you can be almost grateful for the crazy experience. Like how you said, I had all these, like you called this the best year of your life. I can see that too. Like going through a rough time, like I went through a rough time health-wise last summer. And I was like, I would never trade that for the world because of the things I've learned. And and one of my goals in life right now is to keep all the profound lessons I've learned, many about which like not getting ahead of myself, sticking to the facts, like really staying present and developing a practice around that. I know I would not have gotten there had I not had that major curveball too. So it is such a gift when you're able to take this and do something amazing with it.
There's a reason for our journey.
Oh, I love that. So like, so starting over at 60 is no small feat. So that was one of my favorite parts of your story, because I can appreciate that people sort of feel like, well, I'm 60. I've been adulting for 40 years now, and this is pretty much how I am in my life. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced? And then how did, I don't want to say push through them because I want to honor all the work. Like, how did you work through them? I don't know. If someone's, wow, I'm 60 and I want to change, and now all of a sudden I think maybe I can. Talk to me about your journey through that. That takes a lot of humility, I feel like.
I don't know. When I look at it now, I realize how simple it is. Don't go there. Stay here.
Yeah. Yes.
There is the past or the future. Here is right now. I have to, in your mind, go there. Remember, recall, feel it, roll it around in my head. And that's where the spirals come from, the negative downward, down the rabbit hole. Right. But I have to do that. So I had to consciously say, pay attention. That is not attention. That's dreaming. That's sleepwalking to go to those places. They're comfortable because you've been there 1,000 times. So I literally started talking to myself and saying, stay here. This is what you need to be doing. This is where you are. I've got a sticky note on my television screen and it says, get off your ass. I've got a sticky note on the fridge and it says, what are you going to put in your mouth?
Right.
I keep myself attentive to what I'm doing, not sleepwalking, because normally I would just watch whatever's on. I would just get up and get a snack and not think about what's going in my mouth.
Right.
We sleepwalk in our life, our habits, our routines. We get so used to them. We drive home from work at the end of the day tired, slap the keys down on the counter, and we suddenly wake up and go, I don't even remember driving home.
Right.
We live in these loops of sleepwalking that all our problems lie in. When you wake up and you're attentive and you're not there, there are no problems. There's no problem in your life. You don't have a problem. I can tell you right now, you don't. You have situations that you may have to deal with or not. So decide. It's not a problem. You don't have something you have to worry about, stress about, be upset about. Those things are created in the sleepwalking story mind. They're not in your life right now. They don't exist.
Yes, I totally get that, because the number of times I turn out of my neighborhood in the wrong direction just from pure habit. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how do I keep on doing that? Or you keep on making the same mistake. So why do you think the present, what do you think, why do you think, I don't know, do you think the present gets a bad rap? And why do you think it's hard for people to get there, to wrap their head around being present?
Because we have egos.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, our ego has a life of its own. And that life is to control your thoughts. Thoughts that come up in our head, we don't create them. You've never asked for a thought. You do thinking, but you don't do thoughting. Thoughts just arise. They come out of the story.
It's true.
Your ego, you spill a cup of coffee. And your ego throws up a thought, that's just like you dummy. What are you doing, you idiot? And you go into this negative feeling and you get upset with yourself. Well, who are you really being upset with? It's not you. It's just a thought that's thrown up.
Right.
So we get in that dream state. That's where we live our lives. Because that becomes comfortable, because we are an animal of fear and insecurity. And so we're always looking to be safe. And that's why everyone's wearing a bright colored vest today, with this idea we can all be safe and secure. All you have to do is look at the LA fires and see how safe and secure you can be. Insurance or not. Reality is there is no safe space in your life. There is no safe place. That's an idea that is infected and made us even more fragile as a human species, because we all want to be safe. We don't want to hurt anyone. We don't want to be hurt. Guess what? Life is painful. Life is hard. You're going to fall down and get a bloody nose. You've got to understand it and get up by yourself.
Right. Like I used to think like the helpers in my life were people who came into my life and were hugely and positively influential. And I remember having this moment where I realized the people who, because I used to have a hard time like sort of wrapping my head around this idea of forgiveness. And how do you forgive someone who legit has caused damage or harm to you, right? That you could say, like, how do you move beyond that? And I just remember moving beyond that with a particular person in my life and just thinking, oh my gosh, like this person 100% is in my life for a reason. Like, I think we have like sacred relationships. So we have shadow relationships too. And sometimes those and I remember thinking like, I don't know why I thought it would only be positive people that would be my helpers and not, but that also is, I don't know. It was just helpful for me in that moment to understand like, this person is here to teach me something. Like I'm here to learn something from this person. I don't know what it is, but I feel like then when you get curious, it does sort of reveal itself to you. So I want to make sure we don't forget the third step because we have the first one, which was radical responsibility. Then we have you edited your storyline. And then what's the third one?
Collapse life.
What? That sounds...
My life collapsed because everything about my life was the past, the future, the world around me, the complexity, the difficulties of life that I believe it's a struggle and everything.
Right.
When all that collapses, you can feel like it's the end of your world. So my response was well, if life collapsed, maybe I need to collapse life. Life is big and consumes us. Mm-hmm. What if it's actually small and simple? So this is 16 hours. This is the gift of one day. Collapse my life into one day. How many things do I need to do? I need to eat well. I need to be active and healthy.
Right. I need to do like three things at work. Like it's not like this huge.
Exactly. I collapse life into a small package. And every day I can handle a few steps. And that's all I have to do, a little bite at a time. And that simplicity made everything easier. So
like when you stopped drinking then, how did you utilize, was that the first time you really put this into, like sort of put this practice's feet to the fire to really say, or did it come out of your sobriety journey?
Well, I think it came out of the whole, everything comes out of our whole journey. At any moment, well, it's the overnight success. Well, if I'm 60 years old, it's 60 years, and then I'm an overnight success.
Right.
So you can't forget that all that stuff behind you led you here.
Yes.
Yes, at the moment it happens. And when I look at things like stopping drinking, I stopped drinking. That's all. This is no great event. I just didn't pick up a drink again. And when you package things like that's the simplicity of life that you have to impress into your head. For 15 years, I knew I shouldn't be married to my wife. And she knew she shouldn't be married to me. Right. We knew we should be apart. Why didn't we? Well, we've got a house together. We've got a business together, cars together, bank accounts together. We are so intertwined and tangled. How could you pull it apart? How can I leave? When I did leave, when it ended, I turn around and go, it's that easy? You just stop? Everything that happened in that moment is just bang. You just did it. You stepped to a different door. You just did it.
Right.
That's the simplicity because we have a whole culture that tells us how difficult everything is, how complex everything is, how tough it is, how strong you have to be. No, it's easy.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Right.
How do you put down a heavy load? You put it down.
Right.
There is no magic or secret.
Right.
We think it's magic and we get lost thinking there's got to be something big and magical and powerful and spiritual and life-changing. No, you just do it.
Well, like I heard about this study. This is so interesting how you said, I just stopped drinking one day. And if you're looking at your day, like a 16-hour time frame, give or take, you're just like, I'm a non-drinker. Like, I'm a
Yes.
non-drinker. And I know that there's a study that if you give people, like, if people are trying to lose weight and you present them with dessert, like people who say, no, I can't have that because I'm trying to lose weight, versus people who said, you know what, I'm just not a dessert eater.
Right.
And it was like this very different way of approaching it. And the people who said, and you sort of don't even have to believe it. That's what I think is really pretty amazing, is you're just like, I'm not a dessert eater. And then you don't eat the dessert. And then, I don't know, they have much better results. So I think that is so interesting. And I know on my own spiritual journey, like, to work through, I grew up not as an alcoholic, but in an alcoholic family. So I know
Right.
I know all the tricks, you know? And so I just remember like really thinking, oh, like healing is going to be so impossible. It's just like, how do I course correct something that's a system that is so complex, you know? And I just remember thinking, like, when I started, I was like, okay, if I'm just going to meditate, like, that's not that hard. Like, you just have to sit there for 10 minutes. And just if you have a thought, just say, okay, I release that. I mean, and then I was like, okay, and if journaling really helps, and that just takes 10 minutes of 10 or 15 minutes, it's like nothing in and of itself is hard, but there is sort of this feeling like it's going to be hard. And you think that comes back to because our story has told us like this is hard. Healing is hard.
Yeah.
Transformation is hard.
Quitting drinking was easy in the end because I realized, why did I drink? What I got from drinking, why did I do it in the first place? Well, it was to cover pain.
Right.
So when I got rid of the pain, I had no why to drink. It wasn't I didn't want to drink. I had no reason to drink.
Right.
So it just ended. It didn't give me anything because what it was covering was gone. So it had no reason to be there.
Right.
And this is the same in anything in your life. If you find why it's happening and you take away the reason, it stops happening.
That is so true, because when I do something repetitive that I'm like, Heather Campbell, where my ego's like, Heather Campbell, you silly girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so then I just started doing this recently. And I can tell you this has been super helpful, as I'm like, why do I think I do this? Like, why do I think I do this? And then you'll get so many good answers and insights from yourself. And then once you do know, you're just like, then you can prepare for it. Like it just becomes.
I think anything we need in our life, we already possess it. It's already in us. What does everyone's destination? Every human being has the same destination. We want to get to peace of mind, calm, clear, happiness. That's all we do. Why am I working to get to retirement, where I will be able to do what? Have peace, have calm, have my happiness. We're all searching for the direction. I say to myself now, what are you waiting for? Do it now.
Right.
Because it's already there. We are peace. We are happiness and love. We just have it covered up with all this crap and all this baggage that we believe is our reality. Because we practice it.
Right.
Stop practicing it, and what happens? It goes away.
Yes.
It goes away for everyone. Behind you is a big blue sky of sunshine. And the world and our life and our experiences and our history are clouds and rainstorms and wind and thunder and lightning. And that's where we live. But right behind it is a blue sky. It's always been there.
Yeah.
Just let the clouds go by and you'll go, oh, look, it's sunny. It's beautiful. It's all you are.
Yes. If you've ever flown on an airplane and you're flying up like through a storm, and then all of a sudden you get past the clouds and it is absolutely blue sky gorgeous. I mean,
and it's always there.
It's always there.
It's always there.
Even if it's nighttime, there's a part of the world where it is daytime. You know what I mean? Like, it is so beautiful. Right. So tell me a little bit about how all of this changed your relationships, because you had a lot of, I'm assuming you're healthy now, like cancer free.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Way to go. Amazing. So how did this change your relationship with your friends and family?
Well, it's probably made it more difficult in some ways.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Well, I think when you get to a place where you see what that story has meant and you're not living in your story anymore, you instantly see other people's stories.
Yes.
They become glaringly obvious in their speech that they're not talking to you from right here. They're talking to you from a memory or from an imagination for tomorrow. All our conversations revolve around these things. I tell you what's wrong. I tell you what might happen tomorrow, how much better my life's going to be. We're always in these other spaces. So when you're in the middle, in the blue sky, you see all these people in clouds, and it becomes almost a difficulty. You have to almost shut yourself up and allow them their space.
Right.
Because you almost want to jump in and go, look, clear the clouds, get them out of your way, you'll be so happy. But you can't.
Yes.
They have to find their own blue sky. And so you're in a place where you're no longer playing the same game with them. And so you have to be really a lot more humble with your life. You have to be a lot more open and accepting of everything around you.
Right.
You can't be judging and comparing everything. Those are viruses, terrible viruses. To always be in judgment and comparing everything to everything else is just a lost game.
Like my dad was very into AA, had a lot of it. That was his path to recovery, which was really amazing. And he would always tell me, like, do not deny anyone the privilege of their own rock bottom.
Right.
And I used to be like, oh, okay, I get that. Like when I was a kid, like he would say that a lot. But now as I get older, it is like such a gift, you know? And I know that you, especially as a parent, like you want to protect your kids sometimes, but then you're just like, no, like they have to learn this. So this is me like actually being a loving parent right now, letting them like feel the consequences of this.
Sometimes you got to let the person fall down.
Yeah.
So they can find how to get back up.
Exactly. And so what do you wish more people understood about this idea of resilience and starting over?
Well, I think fundamentally it's understanding that who you think you are is this story. You don't have to keep believing it. You can be your real self.
I hear that, everyone. Dallas gave us permission to not believe the story that, like, what's stunning to me is I'm in this really amazing mastermind, and it's a container with primarily women. And what is so interesting is how many women have talked about like a teacher or a parent saying something to them when they were like 12 years old, that literally some women are in their like 60s and they have been carrying that around with them. It's just amazing. So that would be something that they could say, my second grade teacher told me this, and I've just been carrying this around. I can set this down. I don't have to carry this because it's not real, because it's in the past. The only thing that's real is literally this second, which is gone.
Yeah,
that's what I think is so, yeah.
We have to remember that 80% of your life, Heather, you can't remember.
Right.
You can't remember it. Why can't you remember it? Because you don't replay it over and over in your mind to keep it alive.
Oh, interesting.
You are only choosing certain memories, many of them because they're a trauma, a drama. They're big and impactful.
Yes.
So you replay them and you keep them alive. But look at all the memories you've forgotten. So tell me you couldn't forget another memory right now? Of course you can.
Right.
Stop playing it. Stop going and visiting your past, because it's not you. You're here. You're imagining creating your life right now, every moment. You manifest your life.
Right.
Now you can manifest it based on memories from the past, or you can create them right here, right now. It's a choice. It's just a choice.
I see that. I get that. Like, this is going to be one of those conversations that's going to just absolutely reverberate for like weeks and weeks and weeks.
Because it can go on and on, because the reality is what we all pray to be in. That's why this conversation doesn't end, because life doesn't end. This is it happening. People say to me, but at 60, you don't have much time. How can you start over? And I go, what do you mean? I've got all day.
Right. I have 16 hours.
I'm always going to have all day, but you're going to die. Well, yeah, but what's that got to do with today? Right. I've got all day.
Right.
If we put our mind in just doing this right now,
Yes.
you've got forever in one day. This is it. This is your life.
Amazing. Yes. Oh my gosh. This has been so well, and you have a lot of energy. I got to tell you, like you are literally like, just like, I can feel it. Like, you're just like, oh my God, I want
I'm
everyone in the world
alive.
to know this. Yeah.
How can I not be happy and full of energy? This is
Yeah.
great.
It's incredible.
We get to do this. We get the privilege of doing
Yes.
this.
Dallas. Yes. So if people are like, I like this Dallas guy, how can people work with you? I know that you've authored 4 books that are right behind you, but how can people take a step if they're interested in learning more about what you do and how they could maybe work with you?
Email me.
All right. What's your email?
DallasCollis@gmail.com.
Easy enough. All right.
I love it. That's where it all starts. We have a conversation. We connect. We keep talking. Life goes where it goes. That's how beautiful things are.
Oh my God. I love this. Like, I am so grateful that you had these multiple curveballs all at once.
Me too.
And you took advantage of just life collapsing, right? To now, oh God, this is what I mean, like reverberating. How
See,
your
I
life
connected with you.
Yeah.
I connected with you just by you calling the podcast Curveball.
Right. Yeah.
Because if that isn't life, I don't know what is. It's a perfect metaphor for life. Life is a constant curveball. Our problem is we try and keep it still and solid.
Yes.
It's not.
No, like I always think when God was like creating all the animals and insects, he was like, God, I just need to create something that's the perfect metaphor for life. And then someone's, I don't know, how about this idea? How about this concept of a butterfly? And God, tell me more. And he's like, well, it starts off as a caterpillar that's sort of cute, but also creepy to some. And then it completely, it goes away, it hibernates, it completely disintegrates into something completely, and it comes flying out like this beautiful, symmetrical snowflake of a creature. And God's perfect. Yes, that's it.
I like it.
It is. We all know we're going to have things happen. And that's one of the things, like when I wanted to start my podcast, I was thinking like, oh, I could do something around branding and marketing, which is my, area of expertise. But then I was just like, no, I had this curveball myself, and it was amazing to witness all the things that happened. And I ended up being completely had an amazing recovery, which is wonderful. But I was like, I met so many interesting people, and that I was way more interested in people's curveballs and then what do they do when they are faced with things that like just seem so heavy all at once, where life would totally give you a hall pass if you were like, Dallas, like if you were faced with all those things, like life could have said, you know what, Dallas, you can drink yourself to death. And Absolutely. Everyone will be like, okay, I could see that,
Absolutely.
And, or there are times like I was talking with a woman and her husband, like she found out her husband was having an affair, and she's like, oh, my girlfriends were like, oh my God, lay in bed and drink a bottle of vodka. And she's, I can't, I have kids. It was really interesting. Like sometimes life, like people will tell you can do something like, and you made this conscious and intentional decision to do something different with it. And it is absolutely so inspiring to me. Like I am just like, yeah, I love it.
And I would say I didn't have a choice. I would say I had to go. I say to people now, we all walk a hard road. We just wear different shoes. You don't have a choice on the road. The road is going to be there no matter what. You only have a choice on the shoes. How you do it.
That.
What you decide on the road. The choices you make on the road. But the road is going to be there. You don't get a choice of the road. We're on a river going to the ocean. You're not going to get out of the river, but you can put a paddle in and change direction now and then and see different sights. So we have choice in one respect, but the reality is we're all on the same road. We're all in the same boat. We're all together.
Yeah, I love that.
So don't get upset about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and we're all literally just trying to figure it out. That's something that I learned, like that when I could really accept everyone's doing the best they can possibly do in this moment. Even people who are not behaving well, but that's like the best that they can do. Yeah. So it's wow, that is like something that is hugely helpful in helping me not get attached to some of the other stuff.
Yep. Attachment's a
Dallas,
big problem.
Dallas Collis, I just have to tell you, this has been such an interesting conversation. I love to talk with someone who is just so behind what they've learned and so earnest to get this message out to the world. And I am so excited to start rewriting my story. So thank you so much.
Get on it. I love it. Thank you
Right.
for having me.
Awesome.